News Talk is online. News Talk Online is a production of Paltalk.com, the largest multimedia interactive program on the internet with more than 4 million unique users. On demand on iTunes and on YouTube and on Blip TV and on my blog, GaryBaumgarten.com, where you are encouraged to post your comments, whether you agree with yours truly or not. No retribution. And thanks to our good friends at CRN Digital Talk Radio, we're syndicated to an additional 12 million households. I am your host, Gary Baumgarten. I welcome you to the show, and I remind you to go to the Paltalk News Network website, which resides at reportergary.com. reportergary.com. Go there early, go there often to check for stories that you may or may not see, hear, or read in the mainstream media. We update it all the time, and also you should go there early and often because it'll make you feel like you're voting in Chicago. I'm your host, Gary Baumgarten. I welcome you to the show. Let's continue with the calls. Okay, let's go to Jim in Texas. Jim, welcome to News Talk Online on the Paltalk News Network.
Thank you, Gary. You know what this is gonna lead into, and I've seen it coming already. It's gonna lead into more gun control. You mentioned earlier about having a high capacity clip and stuff like that. That's not the problem. If you'll take a look at this guy's background in college, he had several instances where he intimidated people. He got in trouble. Campus police never reported it to the Tucson Police Department or the Sheriff's Department either, for that matter. And he has a history of potential violence. No one picked up on it. My heart goes out to the Giffords. It truly does. But this guy should have been on somebody's radar way before this ever happened.
He's an adult human being. It's very, very difficult to involuntarily commit anybody unless they are an immediate threat to themselves or others. And even then, it's only for a short time commitment, generally, at a crisis center, and then they have to let them go. I agree with you, though, that we ought not to, as you suggested, knee-jerk with regard to gun control. It won't change a thing anyway. It'll make everybody feel good that they did something. But the fact of the matter is, you're not going to go around and round up the millions of clips that are out there already. And I could tell you, having gone to a gun range not too terribly long ago for a bachelor party, believe it or not, as opposed to going to a strip joint, which I thought was a very interesting way for the young man to celebrate with his friends, but that's what he wanted to do. His stepfather had a 9mm weapon, similar to the one that was used, with a clip, and we got to shoot off rounds of ammunition as fast as we'd like on the range in a safe environment. And I'll tell you, there were a lot of people there that were enjoying themselves. Now, for somebody who's not a gun enthusiast, that may sound a little bit foreign, but they weren't doing anything ominous. Nobody there, I'm sure, felt threatened that this fellow walked in with his 9mm with his clip. It's a hobby for most people who have them. Most people don't take those guns and clips and go out on the street and shoot members of Congress and other people. So banning it isn't going to get them out of the hands of the Jared Laughlins of the world. They're already out there anyway. Let's go to Jerry in Florida. Jerry, welcome to News Talk Online on the Paltalk News Network.
Thank you, Gary. Good evening, everybody. I want to make a comment on the speech, but before that, you talk about clips. It's the same thing as if you talk about guns and say, all right, a handgun and a machine gun is a gun. Yeah, there's a difference. They're different clips. For anybody to buy a 31-round clip, I don't think is necessary. I don't think it should be legal. The plain fact is that if he had 9 rounds in his gun, I feel, I believe, there wouldn't be that much carnage. 31-round clips, no. It's like saying automatic rifles, assault rifles. 31.
Yeah, but Jerry, let me ask you this: maybe he would have come with a bomb, or maybe he would have come with 3 guns. You know,
well, maybe he would have. Maybe he would have come with a suitcase atomic bomb. All right.
And you know, Jerry, but Jerry, outlawing the clips once they've already been sold legally on the open market won't stop somebody who already has a clip from using a clip if he or she wants to go out there and do something stupid like this, right?
Yeah, but first of all, 31 round clips are not sold by the millions. There's only a few thousand of them on the market. We did ban automatic guns.
Yes,
we did ban them. And there were tens of thousands of those sold. Okay? So, look, I'm as conservative and as pro-gun lobby as you can get. But I cannot agree for someone to go and buy a 31-round pistol clip. Okay? That makes no sense. As far as President Obama's speech, I listened to it very carefully. And the first part of his speech, I almost got up and applauded. I am not an Obama fan. You know that. But when he started interjecting politics into it and started saying we have to tone down the rhetoric, which we do, it reminded me of a lion talking to an antelope saying, hey, let's be nice to each other. All I want to do is eat you. I'm sorry, it sounded false. Thank you.
Well, I don't think it sounded false at all. I thought it sounded very genuine. And as our guest, Craig Barnes, said, all you had to do was look at how Michelle Obama, it was a very emotional moment. I don't know that we can ascribe everything that these politicians do to having been calculated. Everything that they do is calculated, and we have to question the motives of everything they do. And even if it was politically motivated, I thought he said the right things. They were the right words to say under the circumstances, in my opinion. Robert Goddard, my friend, welcome to News Talk Online on the Paltalk News Network.
You know, I was looking at those 30 rounds for my SPA 12. 30 rounds of 12 gauge shotgun. They're too expensive. They're like $150, so I haven't bought those 30 round clips. But anyways, I don't think that would change. I don't think it would change anything. I agree with you. But I posted that website real quick before I got on mic. Did you see that Democrat website? It was the Democrat website they posted in 2004. They still have it up. Of the United States, the map of the United States, identical to Sarah Palin. It's got all the targets on it. Did you see that? That was actually before Sarah Palin. The other thing I wanted to mention was, So
what do you feel about that? What do you feel about that? Were they right to do that?
I think it's ridiculous that the left is hypocritical in blaming Sarah Palin.
That's not what I asked you. That's not what I asked you. Don't beg the question, please. What do you think of that map that you posted a link to?
I don't think it means. I think it's that they're basically showing the places that they're targeting for their, what the Democrats want to go out and conquer for their political, expediency, whatever. It's just a strategy.
So you don't think that it was a silent nod and a wink to somebody who might go out and pull the trigger on somebody?
No way. If you think that, you got to think that about every little thing that. I don't know how many times I've said lock and load or let's go get them, and I've done that a lot. Maybe it's military background, I don't know, but I've done this kind of stuff, said these kinds of things thousands of times, and this PC culture is really what caused this. If you want to talk about something, if you want to put some blame, I would say this PC culture, the fact that people are afraid to address things how they are. And that's really a leftist problem here, is this PC culture that's been forced upon everybody. You're a bad guy if you say what you're feeling or if you call it how it is. Now, you might be wrong and say the things that are mean, but I'd rather have that, and that way at least we can address them, just covering it up and nobody allowed to say what they want to say. This is really the issue. I mean, there were lots of people that were afraid of this guy. They talked about how he was this radical leftist and how he was this this person that they thought would do something like this, that he would get reported and you'd see him in the news or something like that. But I really wanted to mention one other thing. How about that Democrat pep rally last night? I thought that was awesome.
It wasn't a Democratic pep rally. Thank you for sneaking that in, Robert. They cheered when the governor came to the podium too, and she's a Republican. That's interesting. People are being precluded from speaking their mind, and that's why he pulled the trigger. He had a MySpace, he had a YouTube, he had a Facebook channel, and it wasn't enough. He had no place to express his feelings. If you recall, they were still up after the event. They weren't taken down until after he had pulled the trigger. So if you're going to say that it's unfair to suggest that the campaign ads by Sarah Palin had anything to do with this, and I would agree with that, then it's unfair and inconsistent to suggest that this guy being muzzled because of political correctness. You know, you talk about the fact that he showed a tendency, or the way he was acting in college scared his instructor and his classmates. And so when his instructor sought to remove him from the classroom, he screamed and hollered to the college, "You're cutting off my First Amendment rights!" So perhaps they should not have removed him from the classroom. Perhaps we were being too politically correct in this school district or this community college. And he was removed from the classroom, and that's why he did this. You know, apparently he was obsessed with Congresswoman Giffords because several years previously he had gone to one of these meet and greets, asked her a question which she couldn't make sense of. And I could fully understand that, having read his rantings on the internet, because I couldn't make sense of most of what he wrote. So she tried to give him an answer that he was dissatisfied with, so he figured that, well, she didn't answer my question, I've got to kill her. But that's because of political correctness, apparently. That was the weirdest argument I've heard thus far during this entire post-mortem of the tragedy on Saturday. Frankly, Robert, thanks for your contribution nonetheless. Jade in Texas, welcome to News Talk Online on the Paltalk News Network.
I hate to say it, but if they're claiming that it was an accident that he shot her, I'm sorry, but I don't think it's an accident when you purposely take a gun to a place and shoot a bunch of people with it. You know what I'm saying?
Who said it was an accident?
I had actually seen on CNN at one point on their little news scroll bar that they actually said the whole shooting incident was a quote-unquote accident.
I never saw that. I'd like to know whether that person is still working at CNN, whoever typed that in. An accident? Okay, I'll take your word for it. I'm out of here. The aftermath in 1 minute. I'll be back at 5 o'clock New York time tomorrow for another edition of News Talk Online on the Paltalk News Network. Until then, peace out.